Everyone, my name is Dustin Doza, and this is Father Pedro. He is our parochial here at St. Anselm. And in this video, what our plan is just to kind of give you an introduction to what reconciliation is, what to expect, and how things are done here at St. Anselm.
Keep in mind that we're also being COVID aware, so we're going to show you the different ways how we are doing it right now, and also the traditional way by just going to the confessional. Traditionally, people will come to confession here to the confessional. This light will be on, indicating that the priest is hearing confessions, and then as the people come and go, we just turn it on and off. Usually it's green and red, but here it's only red. So that light is on meant the priest is there. And of course, once we go inside the confessional, there are two ways how it can be done. The first one is behind the screen, so complete confidentiality, the priest won't see you, he just only will hear you. Or you can go around the screen and just can sit in front of the priest, and then it will be face-to-face confession. Which case you want to prefer, that's up to you. But nowadays, due to COVID, we are not doing this, but I would like to show you the inside.
Yes. So normally if the light is red, that means someone's currently in there, correct? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Green means go, pretty much.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much or off.
Okay.
So we have the kneeler. That's for the behind the screen. So the penitent will come and will kneel right there. And at that point, I will be, or the priest available will be sitting behind the screen, which is going to be where I'm going right now. So back here, the priest will be wearing a stole, sitting in his chair. And then there is also the other chair in front, which will be the face-to-face confession. As you can see right now with COVID, it's too close, that's why we're not using it. And of course, the control of the light will be up here, so I will be able to indicate. In that case, we will start a regular confession, and then we take it from there as you've been already instructed.
Gotcha, okay. So what you're saying is when I first come in, I have the option, if I'm not sure and I want to be confidential, I can sit here or kneel here in front of the screen where it's more private and I can discuss my sins there with Father. Or if I want an open dialogue and open discussion, I can come here, sit face to face, and we can talk more one-on-one.
Exactly.
So, Father, if I don't know the act of contrition, what can I do?
There are different options. This is the best one to go.
Oh, okay, so it's right there on the wall.
It's right there on the wall.
Okay.
Or in the worst case scenario that let's say somebody doesn't know how to read or have vision issues, I will guide the person to the abbreviated short form of the penitential act.
Okay. So let's go ahead and let's see if you can show me what we're currently doing due to COVID.
Oh, sure.
Where we're currently meeting
Yeah,
for
let's
reconciliation.
go over the sacristy and the vesting room. That's where the space we are using nowadays.
Okay. Here at St. Anselm, confessions are held from 3 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. normally on Saturday. Usually there's a special occasion where there might be a mission or some kind of parish event that takes place here at St. Anselm where they'll offer reconciliation. So right now, due to COVID, in the sacristy at our vesting area, that's where Monsignor Frank will normally do his reconciliation, and people will normally sit in this pew to wait to see Monsignor Frank. And on this side, we have the bride's room, which is where Father Pedro is normally located. And on this side, people will normally wait to receive the sacrament of reconciliation. We're going to go ahead and take you inside so you can see exactly where and what to expect when coming in to see Monsignor Frank. Normally, Monsignor Frank will be seated in this chair, and then the person receiving the sacrament will sit in this chair here where they can speak one-on-one. Now, you'll notice right now that it is, there's a distance there, and there is not an option to have more of a confidential personal option. That's just unfortunate circumstance right now, okay? But normally they'll meet in here, and then after that, they'll exit. We're gonna take a shortcut. Normally this door is closed when reconciliation is taking place. We're gonna take a quick little shortcut. And here is where Father Pedro would normally be sitting. And the person would enter through this door here. Would enter through this door here and would have a seat where they can talk with Father Pedro. Okay. In our next part, we're going to discuss what actually takes place during the actual confession.
Sure.
I'm going to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, and also just to indicate that since we don't have much space, that's why the chairs are pointing like parallel, so that way we avoid that proximity.
Right.
Just to make sure that everybody's safe and protected.
Right. Good point. And what's also good too is that you'll notice that in each area there's a little card that's listed here. That's safe. Sometimes we might have not gone to reconciliation in a very long time. Well, this gives us a little instruction of what exactly to do, what to kind of like think about, maybe process what we actually want to confess. And at the bottom of the card here is the act of contrition that is used at St. Anselm Catholic Church. So there's always a little instruction pamphlet or whatever you want to call it that's available for you to use when going to reconciliation. In this portion, what we're going to discuss is exactly what we do when we receive the sacrament of reconciliation. Under this video, you'll see a link that's located there. It'll have a document that goes into more detail about the 10 commandments. And it also gives you questions on each commandment to help you reflect and prepare what exactly it is that you want to confess, or maybe what might be heavy on your heart at that time. You know, again, we want to reiterate is that this is extremely confidential, and I'll let Father talk more about that. This is confidential, and it's important for us to realize and understand exactly what am I confessing, being sincere about it,
Yep. One of the most beautiful things that we started just by doing the sign of the cross, which in itself invites us into this intimate dialogue with God. Me as a priest and just the minister. It's Jesus Christ who forgives sins. So that's when the person says, okay, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. This is my last confession was a year, 3 months, or whichever period of time it is, and these are my sins. That's where this guide is going to be really good for them, helping them to realize what is that I'm doing that is not pleasing God, my neighbor, or myself. Of course, common sins that we will always think about, which come across, would be lying, being lazy, not doing chores, and stuff like that. But there are also other sins which this reflection will allow us to dive deeper, and hopefully with the aid of the priest, myself, whoever is available, we might be able to understand them better and be able to be reconciled with God.
And one thing I want to recommend too is what me and my daughter, who has received her first communion sometime last year, what we did was we sat down together and we went over all these questions and the commandments itself, and we actually took notes. We jotted down exactly what, if something hit on that question, we would write that down, because she was a little nervous. So what we did, we allowed her to take that piece of paper with her into confession. That way she could, be prepared and know exactly what she wants to say. And plus, if she needed help.
Yeah.
So, and also I think it's really good because you're reflecting, you're talking amongst yourselves. I mean, you tell me.
It helps. The idea being, it has to be extremely confidential, and children cannot be told which sins they are committed.
Right.
I mean, that's
You're
something
sure?
that they can't. So, because then the children might be confessing the parents or the sibling sins, and confession is personal. But preparing them that way, I've seen it happen where they come with a little notes, and they got down the notes, and then sometimes we'll ask questions about it, and then they will realize that, oh, I really didn't pay much attention to this, but I certainly am lacking in this or in that other area.
Right.
So once they tell the sins, we don't ask questions. It's confidential, it's between them and God. We try to keep it as objective as possible. And then, of course, the penance will be given in proportion to what they have confessed, and also regarding the age of the person. It's not the same to hear a children's confession than an adult confession.
Right.
So the idea being is an intimate dialogue with God, in which the penance given is going to help the person to understand and assimilate God's grace that is being administered through the sacrament.
You mentioned earlier about being confidential, but what if someone says, well, what if Father remembers exactly what I said? What would you say to that?
I can tell you with all honesty that's close to impossible. First, the amount of people that go to confession, and it's an act of prayer. That's why we start with the sign of the cross. It's difficult. You may need to have the memory of an elephant to do that kind of stuff. And that's contrary to the sacrament. By the nature of the sacrament itself, we are not allowed to make use of any information that we hear in confession.
Gotcha.
That stays there.
For our second graders that are making their first reconciliation, what would be some type of examples of sins that might confess? I know for one, maybe disobedience to your parents.
Something I usually tell them when they come and they look nervous and they don't know what to say. Okay, that's okay. How did you treat yourself? How do you treat your siblings? How did you treat your classmates, your parents, your elders? Well, how do you feel about people that disagree with you? I try to open it up without saying specific sins, because I don't want to implant memories on them. I want to be able to help them to understand that, oh yeah, I actually kicked my dog. Or I was mean to my sister, I was mean to my brother. So by asking a generic question that will help them to get into that particular situation.
Well, Father, I think that's all we really have. Just keep in mind that when you do come to reconciliation, No gum chewing. Make sure that you're being reverent,
Yep.
respectful, and majority of the time after you receive a reconciliation, you're given a penance.
Yep.
And to really, when you leave confession, to maybe kneel, reflect in front of Jesus, and really think about that penance that you're given. That's what I would recommend. I don't know if you have
Yeah,
anything on that.
that's perfectly ideal. Keeping in mind that there are more people going down the line.
Right.
So that way we are respectful of others, which is a nice sign of showing our appreciation and love for the church and the sacrament itself.
Awesome. Well, Father, thank you so much, and I hope this video helps you guys be more comfortable and know what's going on here and what to expect when you receive the sacrament of reconciliation.
And also for parents and all the people involved with PSR and the children, keep in mind that we have a little note there with the schedule for confessions, as we said it before, 3 p.m. to 3:40 p.m. on Saturdays, or also by appointment. Or if you happen to stop by the office and are unavailable, I am more than open to take you in.
Awesome. And just know that we're praying for you during this time.
Yeah, we're trying to be safe.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.